It changed actually really recently. It was over the last year. It was actually last year, I believe. What happened was there was an online, there is an online music magazine that mainly reviews industrial type stuff, and it's called Brutal Resonance magazine. And one of the writers and one of the founders of that magazine, his name is Nick Quarm. He had discovered Pittersplatter years ago, and thought that we had just kind of dropped off the face of the planet. I don't remember how he ran across us again, but he did. And he's one of those types that just, you know, whenever he runs across something he likes, he latches on to it. And he had pretty much started managing bands at this point. And, you know, he rediscovered us and stuff, and reviewed the Dawn of Carnage in his magazine, Brutal Resonance. And then from there, it's kind of spawned into a friendship. And whenever he then finally got his management business up off the ground, we were pretty much the first band that he decided to represent. And through him managing us, he shopped us around to a few different labels. And most industrial labels aren't interested in this, because what is classified as industrial music today is not anywhere near what it used to be. It's this kind of bastardized, it's a counterfeit. I mean, it's EBM, it's not industrial. And a lot of them weren't interested in this, for it's not the sound they're looking for. We're too, I'm gonna fucking say it right now, we're too original. They're not looking for, they're looking for the last band, they're looking for bands that sound like the last 10 bands Metropolis Records signed. They're not looking for fucking somebody who's doing something outside of the box.
Do you feel it's an issue if they just don't know how to market it?
Yeah. And they don't, I mean, business-wise, it's a risky investment. You know, you're not going to put money behind something that you don't know if it's going to do well, especially these days. But he got a hold of a label, Mutant-E Records, out of Spain, and they loved us because we are so different. That was like, the label had, that was one of his main reasons for signing us on, is because we are different. And so I'm really appreciative of them all, and they've been a really great label to work with, really easy label to work with. But that's how it all came about, was from Nick doing all that for us.
Obviously, the Dawn of Carnage release opened some doors, because, you know, obviously with the reviews, got you in contact with Nick, and that branched out from there. What has been the reaction to Dawn?
The Dawn of Carnage has actually received the best album. I mean, it was received the best out of any album I'd ever done before. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I think that album was the first album that, you know, where Pittersplatter really found its own skin and was comfortable in its own skin. But it's been received really well, especially on a business end. We got really good reviews from it. From a lot of people give us good reviews. And it's just, I don't know, it really pushed us. It really pushed us forward.
What were some things that you felt you learned on that album that you take forward on Frozen and any future works?
I think a lot of it's just method, just technical method. You know, we did a re-release of The Dawn of Carnage, and a remaster of it, because the original version of it was still very raw when I released it. And after I released, almost right after I released it, I made some serious studio upgrades and stuff, and we decided to re-release it with some stuff we hadn't previously released. But that was mainly done for the European release of the album, and we just kind of released it widely that way. Whenever we decided we were going to do that for the European remaster, basically.
You know, with that, there's some people who have taken to referring to your sound as being old school by many in the industrial scene. Why do you think that is?
I think because a lot of these people who are reviewing for the industrial scene are younger than I am. And they weren't around for the days of wax tracks and stuff, whenever that genre actually had its own identity. Pittersplatter is some people have commented on Pittersplatter making distance between our name and the industrial genre, and I think that is partially intentional and partially not. It's intentional to the fact where Pittersplatter no longer fits in with that. We don't have a home with that scene, because that scene's gone from structured actual music writing to repetitive basically evil techno with, you know, 4 words screamed over and over and over again. You know, it went from the days of bands like Nine Inch Nails and stuff that actually have some kind of song structure to the reverse, and I like EBM music and stuff, but it seems like a lot of what's coming out is nothing but rehashed rip-offs of the bands who started the EBM. And if I wanted to do that, I'd listen to those bands. I wouldn't listen to the 15 shitty bands that are trying to sound like them. And I know that's egotistical to say, but it's the fucking truth.